9, 7 Rivers Racing on KQEG TV. I'm Dan Dyker along with Al Losi. Another big weekend of racing in the books and another large weekend coming up this Saturday night at the Crosse Speedway. First and foremost, Al looked at me and said, well, you know, I made racing shirts from fansarena.com this year, not even wearing it. I'm wearing my UW Lacrosse pullover today in honor of the D3 Track and Field National Championships being right here in our backyard this weekend.
That is big. That is a big deal. That's going to be, I think, one of the largest D3 championships in history, too. And
then next weekend, you've got the state high school track meet right here in La Crosse as well. So I'm just honoring UWL, and good luck to all those student athletes that are going to be here. There's a lot of traffic and whatnot coming around, and hopefully some of those athletes from the area can catch the races coming up on Saturday night. Recapping last weekend, we've talked about him for the past couple of weeks, and I just can't wait for someone to go, gosh, I wish you'd stop talking about him. Well, if he'd stop being fast time qualifying, and now he's winning feature races, Ty Majeski is going to be our feature driver of the day today. On qualifying last week, a 19.787. Out of 4 weeks, he's never missed a 6-for-6 dash driving for Johnny's Hobbies this year. We're going to show you the final two of his NASCAR late model win from this past weekend. And Al, once he got in front of that pack right there, clean air, and he was gone.
Yeah, what he does for a young driver, he drives such smooth, clean lines that once he gets out in front and nobody's able to take a line away from him, he's able to pull away just because, well, of course, the car is set up very well by the team that he's got, but he definitely has that veteran mindset of just driving clean lines.
And see, he's got such a huge lead that you would think if you just tuned in, this would be the battle, because these are the cars we usually see battling for the end. The Kirschners, the Carlson, the Herbsts, the Korishes, the Clements. That logjam right there, that was for seconds. It's something we don't usually see at the racetrack. So Ty Majeski gets his first ever win at the La Crosse Speedway, followed by Todd Korish, Brent Kirschner, Jay Herbst, Steve Carlson, rounding out the top 5. Brad Powell, Adam Degenhardt, Nick Clements, Jeremy Wagner, and Brandon Berg. Teammates right there, rounding out positions 9 and 10. Bill Niles got a heat race win, and Jay Herbst got a heat race win. Mike Carlson took the fast dash, even though he disappeared during the feature, and I still haven't found out what happened to the number 50 car. Sportsmen had a nice showing this past weekend. He was a couple of weeks shy of his birthday, but he ended up picking up a win anyways, and that was Greg Scheck, and it took him quite a while to get out of the Mulliken-Martin-Arneson melee.
Yeah, and a couple of them are teammates too, so they were definitely trying to move towards the front, but does Greg even continue to count birthdays?
I wouldn't. I think he does it maybe with an adult beverage. I think he stacks cans more than anything else. Greg Scheck goes on to the impressive win. Jake Arneson, the one-arm bandit, takes second. Dr. Noise, Bill Martin, third. Brian Hesselberg and the Grape Ape took fourth. And Justin Mulliken rounded out the top 5. Fast time qualifier again with a 22.341 with Steve Bachman. He's done it 3 to 4 weeks this year. Bill Martin won a heat race. Brian Hesselberg won the fast dash. To the Thunderstock realms we go, and this was kind of an interesting race. David Cavan out of Sparta has had flywheel problems the first couple of weeks at Sparta. Got things finally figured out, and he won this one more than in just style.
Yeah, he did a very good job of, once he got out in front, of just keeping that pace going while everybody else was stacked up 2 by 2.
I think the big story here was Radley Paff, man. I'll tell you what, he was holding off all the Moores. You got both Moores, Adam and Andy right there. You got Brad Worthen, Jason Bolster. I mean, that was a tough gig, and I talked to even Harley Jankowski in the 95 car. Said he had a couple of times he was going to attempt to put his nose in, but decided, you know, I didn't want to try to wreck him. I didn't want to force a 3 wide. And Radley did a nice job getting a third-place finish, or a second-place finish. Jankowski third, Worthen fourth. Jordan Myers rounded up the top 5. Adam Moore almost went for the trifecta. He's your current point leader. He's the one with the big bullseye this year. He won the dash, won the heat race. Jordan Myers won the second heat race. First ever figure 8 race to be held at the La Crosse Speedway this past weekend. Turned out to be a little bit more than I think Chuck Deary had bargained for. I talked to him afterwards. He liked the product, but he's going to make a couple of tweaks for next year. And this was an interesting one to call.
Yeah, it was kind of fun to watch. You can see that crowd there in the background. That's where we were watching it. I think that normally in a figure 8 race, the excitement is all where the intersection is, but from where we were, it just looked like there was a lot of excitement coming out of turn 4 there, where people were stacking up.
I think one of the problems early on was that Ford Explorer. He got stuck there right around that first tire and jammed up about 5 or 6 cars. But once they got going, I mean, there was some really good racing right here. I talked to John Radke, who drives a 7R. Troy Tuma was in his car. They had a blast, but that's his dirt car and his lacrosse car, so he won't be bringing that one back out. He's going to build one specifically for the figure eights. Dustin McCracken made his way through all those laps. He was your winner. Brad Worth in second, Andy Moore third, Troy Tuma fourth, and Jason Bolster rounded out the top 5. Now that it's been run once, you know, we've got 3 more of these in the schedule. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some different names like a Dustin McCracken and more cars enter these.
Yeah, and they're going to have to extend that 8 out a little bit there if they do put more cars out there. But I think once they figure out how to get the cars enough room to come out of the corners once they're going around, that it'll speed up the race itself.
Looking at your point standings here before we take our first break, Steve Carlson leads lacrosse late models. He has a 19-point edge over Jay Herbst. Todd Korish, 23 back. Ty Majeski, 37 back. Brent Kirshner on inside the top 5. Grand National Sportsman, Jake Arneson, a 5-point lead over Steve Bachman. 22 over Greg Scheck, 27 better than Bill Martin, and 34 over Jimmy Crackhorn Gilster. Thunderstocks, this is going to be an interesting class throughout the entire year. Bad Brad Worthen has got the point lead. 1 over Andy Moore, 3 over Adam, and 8 over Jordan Myers. Hornets being led by Jake Bemis. He's got 81. 2 back are Jeff Stumlin and Kim Strom. Kevin Turner is 5 back. And look at that, our guest in the program is inside the top 5, only 6 back. She's a rookie this year, and actually second-year driver. We're going to talk to her and her partner in crime, Sammy Linnehan, is going to join us in the program. And look what she brought with her. She brought Mandi Eckelberg, who drives the Great Green Melon Machine. Good time to get her in as well, rookie in the Sportsman class. This year we're going to pick both their brains here on the other side of this break. This is Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV.
When you're all out of good ideas and you've moved on to the dumb ones, it's time. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, a higher standard of comfort.
May I take your order?
Be not defeated by indecision. Choose the path that leads to a better day. Choose the way of the meal.
Make it a meal with one of Cousin Sub's new pork subs, the Memphis steak or the Cubano for a limited time only.
The key to happiness is sharing.
Oh. Cousin Subs. Better bread, better subs, better day.
Did you know that the Holman American Legion is open to the public? That's right, 7 days a week you can enjoy the full-service bar while watching your favorite sports team or NASCAR driver. You don't need to be a member to enjoy the Holman American Legion's rotating lunch special every Tuesday for only $6. A banquet hall with seating up to 250 people is also available for weddings, birthdays, or any other special event. See you at the Holman American Legion, 419 First Avenue West in Holman.
Get ready for the Thunder! The Mississippi Thunder Speedway!
Your Friday night racing destination.
Racing starts at 7. Super stocks.
Modified.
600 mods.
Pure stocks.
Street stocks.
Viva.
It's racing excitement, dirt track style.
Tickets $12 for adults.
$5 18 and under.
$8 for students. Or our family pack.
$25 for 2 adults and 3 kids 18 and under.
Friday night racing starts at 7.
Bring on the Thunder! Dirt track style at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Highway 35 just north of Fountain City.
We're back, Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV. I'm Dan Dykberg with Al Losi, helping celebrate the D3 National Track and Field Meet coming to lacrosse this weekend. That's why I'm donning the maroon and white of the Lacrosse Eagles. A couple of spots over to my, well, would be my right, your left. A couple of guests in the program today. It was supposed to be one, but we brought both of them on anyways because they were looking fantastic. Slamming Sammy Linnehan, the Hornet driver out of Sparta, and the driver of the Great Green Melon Machine, Mandi Eckelberg, rookie in the Sportsman class this year. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Good to have you on. I walked in and I'm like, oh, Mandy's here too, so you're going on the program. And while we get a chance, you gotta show, move the hair, and you got to show the back of the shirt. This is what I love about the Crosse Speedway and some of the race teams. Al, you know what I'm talking about because you guys designed some of these. What an outstanding job that some of these race teams do and the families do when they put together some of these racing shirts and the racing uniforms, it really makes them feel, no matter what class it is, more like they are a part of the big guns at the Speedway.
Yeah, and you, up where you're at in the announcer's booth, you can probably look down and see all the fans wearing them too.
Oh, yeah.
It really is kind of a nice thing to do. It lets everybody know who they're rooting for. Who designed your shirts?
P&P did
There you
mine.
go. That's okay, you can both say.
P&P did mine too.
Out of Sparta. Know them well. I coached some girls basketball with some of their daughters out there in the past. Well, first off, we're going to hit with Slamming Sammy Linnehan. It was nice to get her on the program. I like the apparel. That looks so much better than last year's shirt, too. But as a rookie, you're expected to have just kind of, this is what we're going to put together. But she really stepped up this year with the Linnehan shirts and was proud to wear that just a couple of weeks ago. You got your first ever feature race win. When we show the video here in a minute, you got to talk us through holding off not only the entire field, but Kim Strom, because that 66 was coming for you.
Yeah, he was. I was getting very, very nervous, especially with all the cautions that kept coming out.
I was going to say, what was it like? You went through 5 cautions during this race. What are you thinking through every caution?
I was getting so mad. I was like, come on, guys, keep it together.
Could you feel that Kim was right on your bumper?
Oh, yeah. I kept looking in my mirror. I was like, oh, please stay back. Please stay back.
So you were looking in your mirror, huh?
Yeah.
There'll be a portion here, I think there was like 1 or 2 to go. Strom goes to the inside of you in turn 2 and just got his tires enough in the dirt. I talked to Kim and he said he almost thought about bumping and running, but he did the gentleman thing and let you just, you two go at it like you did.
Yeah, he came up to me after the race and said, good race and everything. Sorry for the little bump I gave you. Like, oh, it's okay.
Right here, we got 4 left turns and a front straight to go. This time, Strom thought, okay, I want to try to get her on the outside. And I think that 7 car was just hooked up enough. You can see here the top 3, Strom and Bemis, are all running for that top spot. What are you thinking right about here?
I was unbelievably happy. I was like, oh my God, is that my number on the board? I just won.
Now, did you realize you were protecting the inside? Were you doing that on purpose, or were you just trying to, because you did a very good job of protecting?
Yeah, I'm not very good on the outside, which I'm trying to get better at, but Dad told me to keep the inside and make them work for it. So.
And that's, we got to bring him up. Of course, you come from a racing name at the Crosse Speedway. He's been out there for many years in several classes. Dan Linnehan. I think the last time Dan was out, he ran a Sportsman, and I think he ran an Outlaw a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So when it comes to advice, I mean, you got your rookie year under the belt, you're in your 2nd year, and you've already come out with a feature win, which not a lot of rookies can say that they do that their 2nd year. How much advice do you get from Dad?
I get a lot of advice from Dad. I always ask him, am I doing it right, or what can I do better at? And he's always there to tell me, and basically just keep your head up and don't let them bother you. Just keep going.
Now, he spent more years on the big track than he did the quarter-mile track. Is it harder for him to determine where you should be on that quarter-mile?
Yeah, he said my first rookie year, he was like, I need to learn more about these Hornets if you're going to keep racing, because this is not even the same. Yep. So now he feels more comfortable this year, setting up my car and everything.
And talking about Hornets, talk about what kind of car you have.
I drive a 96 Ford Probe.
And you know who just smiled out there? Anybody that's got a Bornets in the name of their shirt. Have you seen, I think it was Steve Bornets has in the back of his, the bumper sticker in the back of his car says, you just got probed.
Yeah, we actually made that for them.
It looks good, but Sammy's going to have to get one of those now, because I tell you, those probes, even though they have the latter model probes, Sammy has more or less a newer model probe, but it seems like they all run the same pack.
Yeah, it's all, and it's kind of a fun thing to do, to play with the names of vehicles like that.
So now you're going to come out racing this weekend. You're part of the Buck Night, which we're going to talk about. You want to feature. Do you feel like there was a big pressure taken off of you that you just got that one so early in your racing career?
A little bit. Now I feel like the guys are out there a little more to get me. A lot of them are not too happy that I got it. That's for sure.
And of course,
that's good. That's good. You show them what you want to do, and get out there and don't back down.
Well, it's the same thing with, now you owe me. Wait, no, you don't owe me. Because remember, last year on the program, we had a string of 7 straight shows.
That's right.
In which our guest came on and actually went out and won the race the next weekend.
Yep.
We had Mandi on when we did the entire Eckelberg Racing clan, and she lost the race right at a turn 4.
Yep.
Or else she'd have made it 8 straight weeks, and I said that she owed me, but you kind of got me back a little bit.
Yep, I raced with the women a couple weeks ago, and I pulled out a win from the back row. So
she had to let me know. I didn't even think about it. She won the Queen Bee race, and she started the back row, won the race. And I look on Facebook, and she says, "I don't owe you anymore because I just won." I thought, "Holy cow, that's right! She won that race."
Got a long memory.
That was kind of neat running Queen Bees. That was a whole. You're used to running against race car drivers that know how to pick lines and go to top to bottom. Here you're in a race where you've got them scattered all over the place.
yeah, it was definitely a lot different. We started in the back row just because of having registered late and being a race car driver. And I mean, the women do move a little bit slower than the race car drivers, but some of them were definitely moving pretty quick, and just darting in and out of the cars was a fun time.
Now, Sammy, I see you didn't donate your car for the Queen Bee race.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, you did.
she was in it.
That's right. I have the 86 melon machine in my head right here, not the 7 of Sammy Linnehan. We've got Slammin' Sammy Linnehan and the driver of the Great Green Melon Machine, Mandi Eckelberg, our guest of the program. Today when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about Sammy's going to start in the back this weekend, and we're going to talk about that and more with Mandi Eckelberg on her ventures being a rookie in the Sportsmen class this year at the Crosse Speedway. When we come back on Seven Rivers Racing here in KQEG TV.
Did you know that the Holman American Legion is open to the public? That's right, 7 days a week you can enjoy the full-service bar while watching your favorite sports team or NASCAR driver. You don't need to be a member to enjoy the Holman American Legion's rotating lunch special every Tuesday for only $6. A banquet hall with seating up to 250 people is also available for weddings, birthdays, or any other special event. See you at the Holman American Legion, 419 First Avenue West in Holman.
Get ready for the Thunder, the Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Your Friday night racing destination.
Racing starts at 7. Super stocks.
Modified.
600 mods.
Pure stocks.
Street stocks.
Viva.
It's racing excitement, dirt track style.
Tickets $12 for adults.
$5, 18 and under.
$8 for students. Or our family pack.
$25 for 2 adults and 3 kids, 18 and under.
Friday night racing starts at 7.
Bring on the Thunder. Dirt track style at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Highway 35 just north of Fountain City.
May I take your order?
Be not defeated by indecision. Choose the path that leads to a better day. Choose the way of the meal.
Make it a meal with one of Cousin Sub's new pork subs, the Memphis steak, or the Cubano for a limited time only.
The key to happiness is sharing.
Oh. Cousin Subs. Better bread, better subs, better day.
Welcome back one more time to Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV. Welcome to Lucy. I'm Dane Dyker. Our guest in the studio would be the driver of the Great Green Melon Machine, Mandi Eckelberg, and Slammin' Sammy Linnehan got her first feature win here a couple of weeks ago in the Hornet class at La Crosse. Now, Sammy, you're going to get to start from a very interesting position coming up this Saturday night because you're going to start in the back.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, but I just need to go out there and show them that I can do it no matter what.
Now, but you've got the type of car, and we've seen how quick that car is this year and how well you're starting to learn that action track quarter mile. I wouldn't presume it's going to take you too many laps to get to that back row and start passing cars.
I don't think it will, but you never know. Hopefully the car will be good and set up just right.
As you get closer and closer to the front during the race, it's going to get tougher and tougher to pass each car. So with that in mind, do you have a strategy as far as where you want to be at certain points in the race? Like you want to be to 5th by a certain lap and then to 4th? Because you're going to want to pick off as many as you can earlier in the race. Like, you know, pick 2 laps and you got to pass X number of cars. Are you doing that kind of strategy?
No, not really. I just go out there just for fun, just to show them that girls can do it too.
And of course, that's pretty much been exemplified at the Speedway this year. There was some rumblings going on when I attended a racing smoker this year that someone had slipped me some info on one of the racing families doing some jumbling this year. And Kim, I kept my mouth shut. You're the one who blew it on Facebook, not me. Mandi Eckelberg was going to jump into Sportsman this year, and her brother Jonathan was going to jump to a late model. What did you guys decide that this was the move you wanted to make?
Well, it was basically last minute. I had planned on
getting back in my Hornet car again this year, racing with Sammy. But right towards the end of our time off, all of a sudden it was, how would you feel about racing Sportsmen every week instead of just filling in for Jonathan while he was gone? And we had bought a second car, and we got some teammates on our side and decided to go all out.
There you go.
I like asking drivers that have done this in the past what their reaction is, because you spent your entire career on the quarter-mile track. You surpassed a quicker car of a Thunderstock and jumped right into a Sportsman. What have been the biggest, obviously, the length of the track, but what have been the biggest challenges for you with 4 weeks out of the race book so far?
Definitely keeping the pace. It's a lot faster on that track than what we were in the Hornet division. And just getting the car set up. I mean, in the Hornet, you get in the car and go, and it's not much fixes and changes. But this, if it's not right, you're going to spin or you're going to be falling behind. And just trying to communicate with the guys what needs to be changed or fixed. It's been quite the experience.
So you pretty much in the pits are listening more than saying, I mean, obviously you're going to say, okay, well, what did you think of this? Or are the tire pressures good on this side? Do we need to change the camera? And you can say yes or no because you know those from racing a Hornet. It sounds as though when it comes to larger items, it's pretty much the team saying, Mandi, this is what we're going to do.
Pretty much. I mean, the guys have a lot more experience working with the cars than what I do. And I can tell them if I thought it felt tight or thought it felt loose, and they make a couple adjustments and send me back out and ask me again. But I have a great group of guys working on my car for me who can basically figure out what's wrong once I tell them what I was feeling in the car.
And they end up, they pit next to us out at the racetrack, and they're usually there before we are.
Oh, yeah.
And they're after we are. And we always think it's funny.
Autographs, it's not even funny.
What it is that they got to use their trailers to keep going back and forth to pick up their cars is what it is. And you must live really close to the racetrack to be able to do that.
Yep, we live about a mile away.
Now, 2 weekends ago, we almost saw the demise of the Eckelberg racing clan, because not only do we see one car have a problem, we saw 2, then 3 have problems, and that's why Jonathan was driving Kurt's car last weekend. You had some fuel pump issues.
Yep, I broke 2 fuel pumps that night, actually. I went round in hot laps and broke it myself, and then the boys decided to send me for a ride in our heat race, and I broke a second one.
And then Jonathan had problems. Was that during qualifying?
Yep. Yeah. He went around in turn 1 and 2 and busted the rear, went around in 3 and 4 and busted the rear end, and we almost had a 2-car Eckelberg pile up there. Dad came flying around the corner, hot lapping or qualifying right behind him, and just barely missed him.
So of course, last week it was neat because I had seen it early in the week. It was Monday or Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday, that the change of the order of the Eckelbergs was going to be that Jonathan was driving for Dad in Dad's car, just flipped the numbers around, and Dad didn't mind.
No, he's a really good sport about it. He told us earlier in the week, last week, that he's doing this for us and wants to get us in the cars and get us as much experience as we can. And if he has time to get his stuff put together, then he'll worry about that.
You know, I've been wanting to ask you the entire week, and I was going to ask you on Saturday, but I could do it now. There's been a lot of flashback days going on Facebook here for the past couple of weeks. People throwing old pictures of the Crosse Speedway. Well, the Eckelbergs have been throwing a whole bunch of Mom and Dad, Kim and Curtin, and you and Jonathan as little tykes in the front of the cars. You've seen those pictures, obviously.
Yep.
Do you ever want to have a hairstyle like your mom?
Definitely not. No.
Kind of the wind tunnel tested thing going on right there. You can tell those were taken back in the 80s and some of those in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Talking with Mandi Eckelberg and Sammy Linnehan on the program today. So, I know obviously as a rookie, and we talked to Sammy last year about this, as you set goals as you get through the racing season. What were some of the goals you set as a rookie in the Sportsman?
My first goal was to not get lapped, and I've been doing that every week. So we got that accomplished. Now my goal is to pass a car, but I have to keep the car in working condition in order to do that.
Now, I do notice that you're getting used to the track, though, and that accelerator, because your times during qualifying are getting either very consistent or better.
Yep, last week we had our fastest time in the car, and then I went out for the heat race and broke the transmission on the green. So it was supposed to be a good night, but turned out differently.
Sammy, being this your second year in racing, you got rid of your rookie goals. Obviously, you already knocked out the first one of winning your first feature, and you got that in week number 2 or 3, or 2 for the Hornets. What other goals do you have this year?
Me and Dad sat down a couple weeks ago, and our basically main goal is to keep it in top 5.
Did you expect when you started the race here that number 1 you would have a feature win this early in the season? Number 2 you would be in the top 5?
No, because I haven't even won a heat yet.
Well, I'm seeing more points towards feature than heat, correct?
Yeah, that's for sure.
I think that
more money too.
Point structure works. So what about Dad? I mean, last time we saw Danny was running an orange Sportsman. When's he going to come back out and play?
I don't think he's coming out anytime soon. He's just more worried about the kids right now. He wants to get my car up perfect and ready to go and everything. He just wants to get the kids' dreams, help us reach them.
Well, before we let you both out of the studio, as we do with every driver, we'll let you talk about the sponsors helping you out. Sammy, we'll let you go first.
All right, I'm going to take the time to thank Linnehan Farms, Empty Pocket Racing, which is my dad, We're Chevy, Custom Design Photography, and Harmony Club.
All right, Mandi, who do you have this year?
We got lots of great people back on board with us this year and a couple new ones. We have Feature Sports Bar and Grill of West Salem and Homan on all 3 cars. 4 Racers, Marco Brothers, Scenic Concepts, Fairway Painting with the new paint job this year in the pink, Crazy Carl, and of course my mom at Speedy Graphics.
And I do have to thank them because when I knew that she was going to be in the Sportsman this year, the paint scheme didn't match a watermelon. So there's a watermelon on the trunk of their car. So the continuation of the Gray King Green Melon Machine got to happen in 2013. I applaud that. Coming up this weekend, this is a huge weekend. I would say if you don't want to stand in line, get to the Speedway pretty quick. Weather is supposed to be, I'd say 80% we're not going to see rain. So that's going to mean it's going to be a good weekend. Late models, Sportsmen, Thunderstocks, Hornets. Also, we have the Clements Racing Sausages coming from Miller Park. A first-time ever dog race.
Yeah, we were talking about that and when a bunch of racers were getting together earlier this week. We thought that we're going to end up with somebody who's got some little dog like this with a little pink ribbon wearing little pink tight pants, and we all thought it should be Bill Niles.
Wearing the tights? We're going to put him in the tights. You know he's got some. Also, a double spin to win race coming up Saturday night, and all important, everyone loves this here. It is Buck Night, and we expect a good probably 3,000-4,000 people to show up barring the weather. All concession items, including adult beverages, are all $1. And so you get that and 4 classes of racing, a double spin to win novelty race, and the dog race where people are going to be running with their dogs down the front straightaway. You don't want to miss this weekend here. Are you going to do it? You laugh? I've got a couple of Pomeranians I'll match you up with. I want to thank Mandi Eckelberg out of the Sportsman class. I want to thank Slam and Sammy Linnehan for joining us. 2 outstanding females at the racetrack, and you can tell the guys don't intimidate them whatsoever. For Al Losey, I'm Dan Dyker. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back with more and a tribute show coming up here in a couple of weeks on Center Rivers Racing, KQEG TV.